the way it is. Okay. So now we're on Lamed Gimel Amud Aleph, which means that we're an Amud and change behind. Right? So here's Allah.
But that Amud will be very fast.
Yes, it will. Naftali. Right?
Naftali, keep it up. Naftali, keep it up. I hate that you have to rely on me. It should be a big problem for you.
He's referring to making fun, so that that's.
I was going to say he's sharp. We can't get nothing past him.
I'm not.
We're your key to heaven, Naftali.
Baruch Hashem.
Yeah. Anyways. So the Mishna said you have all these bored guys, and they're all gambling whether this guy's a Nazir or not. Right? So there's six different gambles. Right? So he said, what happens if the guy turns around and he goes back home and nobody ends up finding out who the guy was? So we have no idea if these guys are supposed to be Nazirs or not. Right? So Taima, so Taima Mishum, there's Siyala Chayra. The reason that they're not, so the Mishnah says that they're not nizirim, right? And Reb Shimon says they should be nizirim, with bit of tanai. So Taima Mishum, there's Siyala Chayra. The reason why they're not nizirim is because the guy turned around, so nobody ever found out who he was. So how can you be a nazir, right? Ha'asi l'kaman, but if he would come in front of us and we would see who he is, Havi Nazir. Right? So whoever is the winner that picked the right guy and was right, then he's going to be a Nazir. So money, who's the Tanna of the Mishna? Right? On to the next Amud. Okay, now on to the next Amud. Daf Lamed Aleph. Elaim or Reb Tarfon. So if you say it's a Reb Tarfon, can he be is there such a thing as a safek Nazir according to Reb Tarfon? Mi havi Nazir? Is he a Nazir? Even the Beshaita, the Nazir, because at the time that he made himself a Nazir, lo yada iplainihu bilai, since he didn't know when this guy said, oh, the fellow walking here, I bet you that's Ruvain. And if it's not Ruvain, then I'm gonna be a Nazir. Right? But when he made it, he didn't know if it was Ruvain or not. Well, he was gambling that it was, but he didn't know. Mi chalala nizirus, does nizirus work like that? Can nizirus be chal on a safek? Tanna R Yehuda, I'm a Mishna tarfon. Ein echad mehen nazir. None of them are a nazir. Lefi shaloi nitna nizirus ela lahafla, because nizirus is only given for hafla. Hafla means saying it out verbally. It has to be clear. Right? And this guy, when he made his nizirus, it wasn't clear. It wasn't a clear-cut nizirus. Right? Meaning when he said that if this guy coming is my friend Ruvain, so then I'm going to be a Nazir. Or the other guy said if he's not Ruvain, he's not going to be. Either way, when everybody said it, they had no idea whether it was true or not. So Reb Tarfon holds that you're not a Nazir. There has to be definitive when you make it the nizirus. Right? So who is it? Ella Reb Yehuda Dekrihu. It's Reb Yehuda from the old case that we had a few times already with the guy that gambles about how much grain is in this pile. The Tanya.
Why isn't it even? It should be a safek.
I mean,
because first of all, he doesn't know if he doesn't know who it is. He doesn't know if he's a yid, a guy, a malach, a shade. He doesn't know what it is, and if the person is. Who says he's a Nazir? What percentage of people are nizirim? 0.001%? I mean, what?
Yeah, but we're saying, but wait a minute, it's do we care that there's very few nazirim? Do we care?
I don't know. I have no idea if we care. I don't
know. You got this guy on YouTube who's. Right, but
good. So good. Let's say he is a Nazir, but I have my doubts. But there's one person can hurry out of how many Jewish men over 13. So
true. So you want to say there must be that he's not because he really didn't plan on being a Nazir. I hear. I don't know. The Gemara doesn't entertain that thought. But
why does that make it a safek though?
meaning, because in all probability, it's not in somebody's head to really be a nazir. He shot his mouth off. That's what he's saying.
So it's a very unlikely safek.
Okay, right. So no, yeah.
But he knows he's going into a rive when he said it. So rive won't answer that safek.
True. But it's the why don't we say that most people are not making themselves nazirs, especially nowadays that you don't have karbonis out. You can't even have a carbon. So once you're in it, right?
It's only safek from which pshat and safek chances or.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that would get into the whole. Yeah, but there's a bigger kasha here that the Rush asks. It says in our Mishna, Reb Tarfon Omer, they're not nazir. Right? I don't know why. Because I guess it's really a blot and a half ago because that whole Amud base gets in the way where there's no Gemara. That's my excuse. It says in the Mishnah, Reb Tarfon says they're not nazir. So what are you saying? Our Mishnah is not like Reb Tarfon? Of course not like Reb Tarfon. A line before in the Mishnah it said Reb Tarfon doesn't hold of this. Right? So, okay, the Rush says, that's the Rush's kasha. Where's the Rush? Yeah, the Rush says that, looking for the Rush, that it really wanted, because the braysa, he explains himself. So since in the braysa, he explains himself, so the Gemara wanted to bring the Reb Tarfon, but the Gemara knew Reb Tarfon is not the Mishnah, right? So, okay, but it's an interesting thing, right? So Ella, so who's the Tanna? The Mishnah, Ella Yehuda decree. It's the R Yehuda decree. What's the case? The Tanya Hareni Nazir Al Menashe Ye Bekri Hazem Meyakur. Right, another set of board guys. Right, the guys. He says, "I'm a Nazir on the condition that this pile has 100 core." And he went, and he found, he went and they found that it was stolen or it got lost. So they have no way to prove whether there was 100 core here. So Reb Shimon Oiser, Reb Yehuda Mate. So Reb Shimon says it's Aser, right? And Reb Yehuda says it's mutter, right? And he's not a nazir. Why? Because it's a safek nizirus, right? So Mamela, when this guy turns around in the Mishnah, when the guy turns around, it's a safek nizirus, and he's not. Or the truth is, even when he comes, it's really bad. Some safek nizirus, right? But Reb Shimon says it's Aser. Okay, so Reb Shimon, what's pshat in Reb Shimon? We had this before, way a long time ago. I think Daf Yud Gimel. Reb Shimon Savar Kimin De'ilu Loy Nignav. Reb Shimon says, since if the pile wouldn't have got stolen, Dilma Hava Bei Meyakur, it could very well be that there was 100 kur in this pile, right? We don't know. We only don't know because it didn't get stolen. But had it not gotten stolen, it could very well be that there's 100 kur in this pile, and therefore he's a nazir. But Havi Nazir, he's a nazir. Ashtanami, Havi Nazir, so too now he's a nazir. Because it's very possible that there was 100 kur, there's a nazir. But Hachanami, here too, right? In the case in our Mishnah where the guy walking by, they said he is Ruvain. Kivan Di Asala come on. Since if he would have come in front of us, Yedin and the Pliny Havi, we would have found out that he is this guy, Havi Nazir. They said he's a Nazir. So Ashtanami Havi Nazir. So then he's a Nazir now too, right? So Reb Shimon holds that he is a Nazir from safek. But what we said, right? We have to. It's interesting the Gemara doesn't say that, but we said that Reb Shimon says he's a Nazir, but he should make himself a voluntary Nazir after that, right? He should say if there was 100 in the Kri, or if this guy was Ruvain, then I'm a Nazir from a Chir, and if not, I'm a Nazir from voluntary, and then he could bring his korbanos, right? That's what he holds. Yeah. Okay, so that's our Mishnah. So bottom line is that we have a few different shittas about whether a safek nizirus is really a nizirus. It's get it in yes, no, or make a tanai, Okay, fight in the Mishnah. Ra es a koi, or koi or kvi. I don't know. I thought we used to say kvi, but I'm not starting over the art scroll. Art scroll calls it a koi, right? So, but it's a hak, whether it's the koi itself is a safek what type of animal it is, and is a safek how you even pronounce it. It's a safek all the way around. It's like a mullet.
That's my part in Amalek, yeah.
It depends what word it's worth. Or
What are you saying,
it's not
Naftali?
like Shavuos a cane, Shavuos a shulach. It's not like that. I know there's a kan
No.
shulach a cane, kan
Oh,
tzipor.
no.
It's not like that?
How do you pronounce it? Safek, how do you
Oh, well,
pronounce it?
no matter what it's with.
Yes, as far as I know. What are you saying about with the safek?
No, that Molech made such a safek in Klal Yisrael. We don't, even though the mitzvah that we have to kill them, we don't know how to do that. They made such a safek. Kocha Baderech, they made such a safek
Right,
that even in the way to do the mitzvah, we don't know how to do it because of them.
Right. Yeah, yeah, very good. So anyway, so this koi is all about safek. Right, so Rasa koi for Amar. I don't know, I like kvi better personally, but Rasa is a koi for Amar, and he said, Hareini Nazir. So basically here there's 9 different, well, we're going to see in the Gemara whether it's 9 people or 9 different nizirus. But it seems like from the Mishna it's 9 people. He says it, he sees it, and he says, Amar Hareini Nazir. Yeah.
This guy is the reason the art scrolls say koi. This is
What
called
is
a
that?
koi. It's called a koi.
And what
That's why they say
koi?
koi.
Doesn't look like the kois I have in my fish pond by my country.
I was going to ask,
by
isn't
my
it
hand and half.
That's
Like
with
the
a C
kois
and
I
it's
have.
Japanese. That's a carp. This is a koi.
Here, okay. So, and do they have a definition? Is that a chai or a behema?
It's a machlokes. That's the machlokes.
No, I'm saying from whatever he's showing on the internet to the koi.
Oh,
It's a hybrid of a sheep and a gazelle. That's why it's machlokes, whether it's a
Whether it's a behema
chai
or
or
a
a
chai.
behema. Yeah,
Here.
it probably depends on how much of which it is.
Who the father is, who the mother is. It's a machlokas and Poland, I think.
It's like a tie-in and a liger.
father hasn't been back in 9 years. We don't know who the father is.
Yeah, but then you'll know who the mother is.
There's a lot of uncles around, but the father is not around.
Yeah. Anyways, okay.
That's why it's a problem. Single parent homes always end up with problems, you think.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, so we're gonna have 9 people making the nizirus here. So we have this kaivam Hareini Nazir shezeh chaya. He says, "I'm a Nazir. This is a chaya." Hareini Nazir shezeh ein a chaya. And this one says, "I'm a Nazir. That's not a chaya." See, this one I don't understand because this one is not provable. Correct? It's a safek forever, right? Meaning, I don't know what do I do with this lumdus, but I'm saying in the previous ones, if the guy's name is Reuven, who's walking by, so half the guys are Nazir, half the guys are not Nazir, right? But here it's like it's just a plain old safek. Anyways, okay, so Hareini Nazir shezeh ein a chaya. So that's the first 2. One says he is a chaya, one says he's not a chaya. Hareini Nazir shezeh behema. One guy says it's a behema. Hareini Nazir she'ein's a behema. Fine, that's 4. Hareini Nazir shezeh chaya ubehema. He says it's a cross. Okay, number 6 says Hareini Nazir she'ein's a loy chaya v'loy behema. Fine, those are your 6 basic ones. Then you have Hareini Nazir she'echad michem Nazir. Then the guy says, I'm a Nazir, that one of you guys is a Nazir, which for sure one of them is a Nazir. That was 7. Number 8, Hareini Nazir she'ein echad michem Nazir, which is also true. The guy says, I'm a Nazir, that not one of you is a Nazir. And then the last one is Hareini Nazir shekulchem nizirim, which can't be true, right? I'm a Nazir, all your nizirim. So Hare kula nizirim, they're all nizirim, right? Which l'chayra sounds like shitas Beishamai, right? Because Beishamai had said that they're all nizirim. Which you have a kasha then, because we don't pascha like Beishamai. Why is the stam Mishna going like Beishamai? Right? We should really be going, which is really be going like not like Beishamai. Okay, so some say that the pshat is that it's really going like what's it called? Reb Shimon, who says they're going to be nazir misafek, and then they should really add on a safek, a tanai with a safek. Okay. Fine. So Tani Chad, then the Gemara says, Tani Chad Tisha Nizirim. Right? There's 9 nizirim. V'tani idach teisha niziros. 9 niziros. Right? Which when I first looked at it, you try Epis, think of the Gemara before looking at the front and say, okay, is this the machlokes whether they were talking about males or females? That's really what was going on here. And then of course you look at the first, you said no, teisha niziros. For whatever the diktuk is, we're not going down that road, Gershon. I mean, you're going to want to. But teisha niziros means it's one guy making 9 different nizirus about himself, meaning Tisha nizirim, there's 9 different guys. Teisha niziros is 9 nizirus, whatever you want to call them, safek kabbalah nizirus on one guy. Right? Okay, so now Gemara says, Bishlam Tisha nizirin. So it's good, 9 nizirim, meaning 9 different men could go into Havi Gavri Tfei. Right? There were a bunch of guys. Tfei means there were a lot of men there. Did this who every one of them made a tfisa, and they went, meaning they tfisa is like they grabbed onto this terminology to decide whether they're going to be nizirim. Elotation nizirus l'chad gabra. How can you possibly find 9 nizirus to this one guy? Some of them are directly opposed to the other, meaning it's a chaya. If it's 9, if this guy's making 9 different nizirus, so what's he saying? I'm a nazir if it's a chaya. I'm a nazir if it's a behema. I'm a nazir if it's not a chaya. I'm a nazir if it's not a behema. I'm a nazir if I'm not a nazir. I'm saying, how do you fit all against? How do you fit into 9? So bishlam mishish mishkachasla. So 6, you could find kitatanan, like we said, meaning he could basically be saying, I'm going to be a nazir. If it's, I didn't, as not that I explained it before, meaning I'm going to be a nazir if it is a chaya, but I'll also be a nazir if it's not a chaya. I'll be a nazir if it's a behema. I'll be a nazir if it's not a behema, or both. So the first 6, then it could work, right? Meaning he'll have to be a nazir for each option that's out there. If you're going with that safek nazir, but how do you get the last 3? Avatlas, the last 3, right? Meaning the last 3, his nizirus was based on what the first guy said. Like, I'm making myself a nazir if one of you guys is a nazir, or I'm making myself a nazir if one of you guys is not a nazir. So that's all based on what somebody else is. It's not a nizirus. So I'm going to Omar Hareini Nazir or nizirus hakol olai. He says, I'm a nazir, and all of these people's nizirus are on me. Right? Meaning it's a 10th guy. And he says, I'm going to be a nazir for as many nizirus that happened to the first 9 guys. So since the first 9 guys are nizirim, so he's got to adopt a nizirus for each one of those 9 guys. Right, so that's what the case would be of 9 nizirus on one person. Right. So basically, it's no real chiddush there. There's 9 of these guys that are playing around and they're saying all sorts of tanoim. And then this guy comes along and says, you know what? I'm gonna what do you call it? I'm gonna double or nothing. Is that? No, it's not exactly double. I'm gonna
Double down.
I guess I'm gonna 9 times down on all of you guys. Meaning you guys are all big men. I'm gonna be a nazir for all of you guys, right? So Mamela, he has 9 nizirus. Okay, Hadron Allah Beishamah, L'chaim. Jesse is on there, or he's busy. I don't know what he's busy doing. He's not on now, anyways. Okay, Chaim on my seltzer. I don't have a cup. Okay, Chaim. Chaim. You gotta weigh parrots. You gotta weigh easy with this one. You got to take a half. This is a 2-block Perek.
That's why we double down.
There you go.
Parrots, half game, whole snow cone.
I don't think he heard you. I don't think he heard you. All right, sure. Okay. Now, this Perek is very interesting. The first 2 block are basically drushes. Anybody here say Rabbi Shmuel Leimer in the morning?
Yeah.
You do? Oh,
Yeah.
tell you about it. From a cloth, not on a cloth.
Tanna's been saying it for a year and a half.
I've been saying karbanos for over a year and a half.
It's not kabbanis.
It's Rabbi Shmuel Leimer. Rabbi Shmuel Leimer is not
At the end of the
kabbanis.
It's not
I said
kabbanis.
that also.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
Good.
because I was saying Kaddish, so I had to say it. I kept on saying it.
Oh, got it. Okay, Sadik.
Well, anyways, if you do Rabbi Shmuel Leimer every day, then you have an advantage for the next blot and a half. But at least for half of the Gemara. If you don't say it,
Not like I
then,
understand it.
well, let me tell you something. This Gemara is not exactly going to clarify for you. I'm warning you right now. Disclaimer. Okay.
That's the whole point. They're not meant to be understood. They're
Right, it's all the
drushes.
drushes. It's right. It's
Yes.
all the
It's drushes,
Right.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what-
Okay, so let's see how it goes. So, okay, should we do the hakdama for the drushes? Nah. Okay, we'll discuss it before we do it. Okay, so Zok the Mishna. Shleisha, finally we get into some basic nizirus. Shleisha minin Asurin benazir. There's three things that are also for a nazir, right? Which is an interesting it's an interesting terminology.
Public service announcement. Everybody speak up the next art scroll now.
Oh, Taka, right. There's a siyum, that double siyum parrots, another l'chaim.
That's what I was going to say. If you don't see anybody get up, either they knew we were starting it or they have no idea where we're up to.
Very good.
Or they don't have an art scroll.
Oh.
You didn't think of that one. There you go. I want to talk if there ever will be a time
Oh,
when
and
it's gonna be
Avi
a
gets
siyum
up.
on an art. I wonder if it will ever be that they make a siyum on a half on an art scroll. Right? Maybe. What, you don't have a problem with that, Gershon?
Why not?
I hear. Okay. What happens if it's in the middle
Finish
of
the
a parrot?
safer. It's a chashuv of safer too. It's half of
Sure.
I don't know.
the
Some Mesechus you have to do if you have 3, 4 of them.
Givaldig, even better.
Yeah. Listen,
No.
David Feinstein, who said they make a siyum after a Perek, so l'chayra after one chelik art scroll, it would. Yeah. So, anyways, so
Although
Shaggy,
this way you have to actually read the
Jago, we
whole
want to have cowboy sticks. We can have cowboy sticks. It's not a problem.
true.
All right, fire up
True.
the grill.
Aaron Kaplan, you're going to be having a hard roll and what else for your siyum tonight?
Go ahead, rub it in. I already
Stuffed
had
chicken. Stuffed chicken.
A dry little piece of chicken with tomato sauce.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, fresh sweet chili salmon,
Yeah.
microwaved at 185 degrees.
And 2
That's
kernels
right.
of corn, 1/4 of a French string bean, and 1 square of carrot.
Yes. and don't forget his little cup of water there for his l'chaim.
Yeah.
Yes. But anyways, okay, so Shleisha minin Asurin benazir. So the Lashon minin, there's three minim, right? I don't know exactly what that Lashon is, but there's 3 things that are also for a nazir.
goes
Hatuma.
with the chatas lashon, no? The avera that he did, he's a min.
Okay, I don't know if that's Pashup shot, but anyway, so okay, Shloshim minin Asurin benazir. There are 3 things that are also for a nazir. Hatuma, can't become tamei, v'atiglachas, and he can't take haircuts. And anything that comes out of grapes. Yeah, so those are the 3 things that are also. Yeah, that's a beferish psukim. Fine. Anything that comes out of grapes combines, meaning normally, in order to be chayiv on something in the Torah, you have to have a kezayis, right? It's chaval, this sugi is not right before Pesach, but it's getting there. But you have to have a kezayis. So we're saying that you can combine it, meaning you could have a half a grape and a half of a grape seed and a grape skin and whatever we'll see in the Gemara. But you can combine all of them to make the minimum share to be chayiv. But you're not chayiv until you eat what do you call it? You have to eat a kezayis though, right? Meaning the first one was saying that all these things combine to the shear, and what's the shear? The shear is a kezayis. On tamei base. Mishna Rishayna Aimeres, the first Mishna says, meaning we had this a couple of times, I think, in the Nedarim, that meaning there were first versions of the Mishnah and then there's second versions. So the first version of the Mishnah says, until you drink a riviis, right? Meaning it's not a kezayis, it's a riviis. If you're drinking grape juice, you have to have a riviis. right? Which is a riviis a lug. That's what we call a riviis, right? So again, so the first Mishnah, the first part of the Mishnah is really the second Mishnah. So it says you have to have a kezayis. The first Mishnah says it's a riviis yayin, right? Now, how do you get from a riviis, according to the first sheet, how do you get from a kezayis to a riviis? So that's a whole tumult unto itself. Now, what's interesting is here, why wouldn't the Mishnah and Tosfos later on ask this kasha? You're saying the Mishnah Achrona first and then the Mishnah Rishona, right? So okay, but that's our, maybe we'll get to it later on. So Rabbi Kiva says he has a big chumrah. Rabbi Kiva says afilu shara pita b'yayin, even if you soak your bread in wine, and there's enough combining the bread with the wine to make a kezayis, then you're chayiv. Meaning, let's say a kezayis is 2 schnapps glasses, and you take your challah and you stick it into 1 schnapps glass of wine, and combine the challah with the wine. That will make you have a kezayis, which is a massive chiddush, because you did not have a kezayis or a riviis of wine. You're eating a half a shear, and the other shear is going to be made up of challah, right? Still, we look at it like it combines.
Is there any other place where we combine the shiurim like this?
Oh, so that's going to be. I'm not making a bet I'm going to be a nazir, but I'm going to bet that it's Wednesday's daf. Tuesday, I know I'm saying I looked at it today. But I still need to bet. But I'm saying, I think it's either Tuesday's or Wednesday's daf that it's going to discuss whether we say it by other isurim. But
what's your Akiva based on? Tam Ke'ikr? How do I have a kezayis of wine?
that's part of it's going to be whether it's tam ke'ikr or it's going to be, tam ke'ikr is the other tzad. Right. So anyway, so that's Rabbi Kiva's big chumrah. And you're chayiv just by drinking wine, and on grapes by themselves. And on chatzanim, which in a few lines is going to be a machlokes what that is. Chatzanim and zagin, we're going to see in a couple of lines, is a machlokes what they are. Yeah, but either way, there's really no chiddush of these things. Well, why shouldn't you be chayiv on wine by itself? Why shouldn't you be chayiv on grapes by itself, or grape skins, or grape seeds, right? So the reason why is because of this next sheet. He says, no. If you just eat one, if all you eat is one grape seeds or one grape skin, then he says you're not going to be chayiv because it says it in plural. The pasuk says it in the plural, chartzanim. So memela, he holds you have to have a couple of those in order to be chayiv. So that's what the Tanna was coming to exclude, and Tanna is coming to exclude is that you're chayiv if you just eat each one individually. You don't have to have zagin together with chatzanim as multiples, right? Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah holds you do have to based on what the pasuk says, right? Again, the pasuk. I don't know if you have the pasuk. Let's wait till the Gemara to go through the pasuk. But again, the Tanna is not really saying a chiddush. He's just coming to exclude Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, who holds that you have to have two types in order to be chayiv, right? Okay, so Elohin chatzanim, Elohin zagin. What are chatzanim and what are zagin? So chatzanim, Elo hachitzainim. The zagin, the chatzanim are the outside, the grape skins. Hazagim, and the zagim is Elo apnimis. That's the inside, pnimim, the inside meaning the seeds. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi Omer, the exact opposite. Shaloi tita. So you shouldn't make a mistake and think it's the way Rabbi Yehuda said it. It's kizug shal behema. It's like the bell that you put around an animal. Hachitzain is zug. The outside part, the outside metal part, is called a zug. Papnimi is inval, and the inside is an inval. So he's saying that that's the way to remember that the zug, which is a zag, so it's a play on words. Zag zug is the outside. Right? So Rabbi Yehuda said that the zagin is the inside and the chatzanim is the outside. And Rav Yossi is saying the opposite. The zag is the outside, and the chartzon is the inside. Okay, so basically we have a lot in this Mishnah. There's actually a lot of. Oh, we forgot to do the preview. Okay, I forget. There's a three surim. The Mishnah says like this, just the chazard over. There's 3 surim for a nazir, right? Not to become tamei, not to take haircuts, not to drink wine. Anything that comes out of the wine combines with each other to make the shear, and the shear is a kezayis. And then the Mishnah says, but the Mishnah Rishona held that the shear is not a kezayis, the shear is actually riviis. Rabbi Akiva says a big chumrah. He says you don't even have to have a kezayis or a riviis of wine. You would use it in combination with something else. Like if you dipped your bread into wine, that bread would go towards the minimum measurement. And then we had a machlokes, Tanna whether you have to have multiple things in order to be chayiv or not multiple things. And then we had a machlokes whether chartzanim are the seeds or the skins, and whether zagin are seeds or the skins, meaning it's opposites. If you hold one holds a chatzanim as a seed, and the zagin is the skin, and the other shita holds that the zagin is the seed and the chatzanim is the skin. Fine. So zok the Mishnah, shloisha minin asurim ben nazir hatuma. Right, there's 3 things that are awesome. Right, so then the Gemara says, hayotzim a gefen in. It's mashma that things that come out of a grape, yes, gefen atzmoi loy, but the gefen itself is not awesome. Meaning, the branches or the actual vine. Meaning, does the actual vine usher for a nazir or not? Let's say he likes to. I don't know what you're going to do with this vine, but let's say he likes to
meat with grape wood.
Right, that's what you'd have to say, right? You take right.
Well, can you
yeah,
put it in and have can you sell it?
It's not also about no.
Or
No,
grape
so I'm saying,
leaves.
so that's something you would use it for. You could sell it.
They have stuffed grape leaves, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say that these stuffed grape leaves products.
Taka, right? Don't they serve that at fancy things, whatever?
It's Greek.
Cigar.
Right, or something like that. Okay, so good. So good. So is that included or not? So the Gemara is being medayik from the Mishnah that it says dafka from the gefen, but the gefen itself is not a problem. Masnisin to like Rebbe Lazar. The Mishnah is not like Rebbe Lazar. The Tanna Rebbe Lazar. Afilu alin v'lulavin b'mashma. It's not only it's the leaves and the lulavim. The lulav is I don't know how you touch a lulav. I don't know what grapevine looks like exactly, but it's a lulav and the whatever leaves, that type of thing, the leaves. Yeah, so ikadamri lo asefa. Some say the same Gemara, but they say another sefer. He's not chayiv until he eats from the grapes. A kezayis min anobim in mea gefen atzmai loy. From grapes, yes. From the grapevine itself, that's not. So must listen to like Rebbe Lazar, the Tani Rebbe Lazar, afilu alin v'lulavin b'mashma. It's mashma even the leaves and the lulavin. Okay, but my komifli. What's a machlokes? Meaning, what is a machlokes based on? Whether the grapevine or the grape tree or whatever it is, branches, leaves, whether a nazir is not allowed to have it or not. What's the machlokes based on? So there's 2 ways to darshan. We all are familiar with klalu prat, some of us at least, because we say Rabbi Shmuel, right? So memela, you know that there's something called a klal and a prat, and sometimes you have klal prat u klal. Sometimes you have prat klal u prat, and sometimes you have prat u klal, right? Well, what the differences are we're going to try and try and understand it a little bit. That's one way, which is I think the way we pass them. But then you have another way to darshan it, which is ribui and miyut, which they're very similar. Meaning, if you look at the pasuk, my Gemara on the side only has part of the pasuk, but the pasuk basically says that miyayin v'shecher yazir, right? He's a nazir from yayin and shecher. Chaymetz yayin, chaymetz shecher lo. It's very important to know the pasuk here. I don't know if the Art Scroll Gemara has the whole pasuk on the side or not. Has the full thing because it's my Gemara is missing part of it. Meyayin v'shecher yazer chaymetz yayin chaymetz shecher lo yishte v'chol mishras anovim lo yishte v'anovim lachim v'yiveshim lo yoichal. Right. So he shouldn't have any of those things. Right. But it says specifics. Yeah. And then it says. I'm just looking for the rest of the pasuk here. Where's okay? So basically, the pasuk starts off with telling you a few specifics. Wine, shecher, we said is not beer; it's a type of wine, right? And then vinegar, wine vinegar from shecher, you shouldn't drink. And then it says, so those are specifics. Then it says, chom mishras anovim lo yishte. Don't drink mishras anovim, anything that's soaked in water, in wine, grapes, whatever it is, right? And then it goes back and it says, don't eat from zagin and what's the other one? Zagin and
has it in note 13.
Right? So then it goes back to a specific. Note 13 has it. What's the end of the pasuk there?
It says, "Kol yemei nizro mikol asher yasa migefen hayayin michartzanim v'adzog."
Oh, good. Oh, good. Thank you. So then it goes back to specifics. Again, first it says different types of wines and vinegars. Then it says don't have anything from wine products, and then it goes back to chatzanim and zagin. So the question is it a klal and a prat? If you say that it's a klal and a prat, or a prat and a klal, so klal and a prat meaning it says a rule. And then when it specifies it, it means only that thing and that's it, nothing else, right? When you have a riviis and a miyut, right, it's including everything. And then we're knocking it down, but not as specific, right? Let's see how it goes. So let's see. Rabbi Eliezer darish riviis miyut, Rabbanan darshi klali prati. Rabbi Eliezer darish riviis miyut. We're about. I don't know if anybody came late because I don't know. We posted that we started early in case you're wondering. We're about 10 lines down from the Gemara on Lamed Daled Amud Aleph. Yeah. So Rabbi Eliezer darish riviis miyut. Rabbi Eliezer darshans riviis miyut. Miyayin v'shecher yazir is miyut. It says you should not have wine and shecher. Right. Mikol asher yasa migefen hayayin riba. Anything that comes from wine is a riviis, right? That's broadening it. Miyut v'riba hakol. When it says a miyut first, and then it says a blanket rule, then it's coming to include everything, right? Yeah. So it's a miyut and a riviis. What is the riviis? Riba kol mili. It's coming to include everything, meaning anything that's made. That's anything that has any association with grapes. Which we're going to say is the lulavim and the leaves and everything, right? And my miyut shvishta, it's coming to exclude. So I don't know exactly what this is. Some sort of wood thing, some sort of growth on the grapevine that's not considered the main part of the grapevine. So that's not included, right? That's the way Rabbi Eliezer is learning it. Again, even though we called it riviis miyut, but it's really a miyut and a riviis. Right. It starts off with a couple of things. Then it just says mikol asher yasa migefen hayayin. So that's a riviis. So therefore we say it includes everything. And what's it coming to exclude? It's coming to exclude some sort of minor thing. Rabbanan darshi klali prati. The Rabbanan darshan it is a klal prat. Miyayin v'shecher yazir prat. Mikol asher yasa migefen hayayin klal. Right. So it's a prat, giving you specific things, and then a klal. Merchatzanim v'zag chazer a prat. And then when it says chazanim and zag, now it goes back to specifics. Prat uklal prat. When you have a specifics, and then you have just a big rule, and then you have another specifics. Iatadan elokena prat. So then you only learn out what the prat is like. Now, what's the prat like? This is the part that's difficult to understand because how broad do you say the prat is? It's anything similar to the prat, right? Ma prat, mefurish pri, upsailes, Pre, if the prat is talking about pre, and psilus pre, which the Gemara is going to say psilus pre is vinegar. So it's a pre, it's a regular grape, and it's also the vinegar. Afkol pre, psilus pre. Same thing is pre and the psilus pre. Anything that has the pre and anything that's psilus pre is included. Okay, so ima prat ufurish pre gomer. But who says maybe the prat is talking about a complete fruit? Afkol pre gomer. So too, it's a complete fruit, right? Meaning anything that's totally complete meaning ripe. Amrit, so the Gemara says, if you're saying that, then what did the pasuk leave you over that was not said? Anovim lachim v'yaveshim. You're going to say it's coming to include ripe, dried grapes. I'm sorry, lachim means not fresh. What's the word? Ripe, right? And yaveshim is dried, right? Hoksivi. It says that, right? Yayin, if it's you say it's a yayin v'chaimitz, hoksivi. It also says yayin v'chaimitz. So therefore, you should not go with the lashon achron, meaning the question. You go with the first lashon, which is that it's coming to include fruits and fruits that are not that are psilus fruits. Okay, so I'm going to ask me, and since we're coming to include everything, that's meaning. See, that's where it's difficult to understand. I mean, not this, but this is part of it. It says that you're coming to include everything, right? But it's not everything. It's only everything that you chose to compare it to, right? I mean, it's not everything. It's fruits that's ripe, and fruit that's psilus, right? So matam loymar mechatzan v'adzak. So what are you doing with chatzan and v'adzak, right? Which comes afterwards. It's coming to tell you that now we're learning how to rule from Nazir. Anytime it says a prat and a klal, you cannot darshan it like the prat. The klal always adds something onto the prat until the pasuk tells you specifically the same way it says it by Nazir, right? Which essentially what it's saying is that a prat uklal uprat is essentially the same thing as a klal uprat uklal. Meaning, when you have a klal uprat uklal, what it's saying is that is the rule is specific to whatever the prat is, or a comparison to the prat. But I don't understand that too clear exactly. What gives you, how far do you extend the comparison to the prat? Okay, but that's what we're saying. So basically, the reason why it says chatzan and ba'adzag until it says it after the rule, meaning again, it says a prat, it says vinegar and grapes, etc., etc. Then it says a rule, anything coming from grapes, and then it says chatzan and ba'adzag. So the reason why the Torah is telling it to you like that is to learn out from Nazir that anytime the Torah does something like this, it's coming to tell you that it has to be according to those specifics. So let's see what this is. It's Amar Mar.
This is a 2-in-1. This is the end of the Shleisha riviis. It's Yotze min haklal lalamid, lo lalamid al klal yotze, al atzmi yotze lalamid al klal kula yotze. That's what it just said. Eretz, I see you.
Yiskara, Shemay Rabba.
Perek, let me ask you something, Perek. How do you know that they say Kaddish after Rabbi Shimon?
There was one time when I was in Avelis and I got up early.
I really thought you were just going to say, because Naftali's been talking about it every night for the last 2 years.
I thought maybe he davened in another shul once in his life.
I'm not so sure.
Oh no, that was not a
Actually,
possibility.
Naftali one time came and asked me if he could say the Kaddish, but I had no idea what he was talking about. I said, sure, of course.
He saw it on YouTube.
It could be. It could be.
No, I did. I
Yaakov,
was
Mr.
davening by
Yaakov.
him once. I asked him if he could get there early enough so we could do Rabbi Shmuel. I did. He got me
There
on
you
that
go.
one.
Yaakov, to fit
Yeah.
in with this, So when he had a lot of people by the daf, like 4 years ago, so he tried to say Rabbanan Kaddish after the daf. So I used to fight with him all the time. And one time I told him, I said, Shmuel, I want to tell you something. I never said a Rabbanan Kaddish for my mother, and my mother is just as dead as your mother is.
I'm sure he appreciated that.
That's not validation. I don't know what is.
There you go. Yeah. Very good. Okay, so well then let's put this stuff to sleep then. So so Omar Mar. So in the first one, like Omar Mar, Ma haprat mefurish pri upsilas pri. Right, we said just like the prat. It's mefurish. I love that it says that. It's mefurish. Okay, I don't find anything mefurish over here. Okay, so Amar Ma prat mefurish pri upsilas pri. So the prat is coming to tell you it's fruit and psilas of fruit. Afkol pri upsilas pri. So you can only have on a vine. It's only something that's similar to fruit and a psilas fruit. Okay, pri invi. What's pri? That's unowned grapes. Psilas pri. What's psilas pri? Mahi. What is that? Chaimetz, that's vinegar. So afkol pri mahi. What is all other types of pri? Guarki. That's grapes that are not yet ripe. Afkol de psilas pri mahi. What's the afkol de psilas? Amrav kana lasuye invi dichrin. That's grapes that have wormy grapes. Grapes that have worms in them. So all those are included, according to the one that says klalu prat, which is really a prato klal. It's coming to include regular grapes, vinegar, unripe grapes, and wormy grapes, right? That's what it's including. Va'adzag, what is va'adzag? That's coming to include. So I don't know exactly how you touch this is. That's something that's in between the way the Mefayer says it. It's something hard or congealed, right? Karush, yeah. It's the junk that's in between. I don't know if that's the actual. Is that the grape that we eat? It says it's in between the skin and the seed. That's the pot. Is that the? I mean, that's the grape, isn't it? Isn't that the grape, or is there another thing there by the grape that I'm not aware of? Originally I thought that there must be something in between the skin and the meat of the grape. There must be something there. I don't know. I'm not sure what it's talking about.
Can I do an invitation to Simon or no?
I think what's it called? I think all grape flesh is light, but like in winemaking, the skin is what colors it. If you have red wine.
Right. So but is there something under the skin? That's the shayla. Is there something in addition to the, like what is this thing? Bein ha-beinayim. There's something in between the skin and the shemimenu nasin shmorim. Isn't that the flesh? No, I don't know. Originally I thought there's something else there, but it doesn't seem like it. Right? Okay, either way, we could stop here. The next Omar Mara, the next bunch of lines is the exact repeat of the Gemara, so at least we get a freebie. But like this, it'll be our chazara before tomorrow's daf, which is going to be a continuation of klal uprado klal, more klal uprado klal and ribui miyat ribui. And yeah, all right. I thank you for tuning in early. I hope it didn't stir anybody.
I see Gershon's like wound up. He's ready to go. But I'm like, Siaka, if you want a definition of under the skin, we could just call it Gershon.
Gershon.
There you go.
I wanted to check before I said anything, but there is a pocket where the seeds of the grape are in. It's slightly different than the flesh of the grape. Technical terms are mesocarp and endocarp, whatever that means.
I think I'd rather stick with klal uprat.
Yeah, but they are different. There's whatever. Yeah, biologically different.
Well, I mean, it is. Okay, who does wine? Who makes wine? Anybody? Nobody makes wine.
I grew up making wine.
All right, you're ahead of me. So because you grew up, but what?
Well, like physically. Yeah.
Saying what's is there extra thing there in the grape, or is this talking about the regular flesh of the grape that we all eat?
No, it's inside the flesh of the grape. It's the stuff that doesn't really do anything.
Uh-huh.
The flesh of the grape is what becomes the juice, essentially.
Okay, so then that's okay. So that's included in the klal u'plar.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, good night. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night, Avram. All right. I'm going to go head on out to Flappers.
Yashikoyuk.
All right.
Plug doesn't say.
Amei.
Yeah, go safe.
Dobie, how's it going, Dobie?
With
You know,
what?
Dobie?
I'm here.
With
Life.
With your wife. How's your wife doing?